didn't mind. She wanted it because she wanted to hire people.
At least I don't call you Trump.
More so.
Yes, I don't call you that. Yes.
Art decisions. Yes. I have enough papers. The generator needs to go discuss. Killing trees.
You reappoint the whole youth board?
What's that?
You reappoint the whole youth board? Is that what this is?
Pretty much. What's that? There's more now.
These are just
Two more now.
These are two-sided, right? They printed all the letters two-sided. I don't know if you guys want to see any of this stuff, Jason, Susan. The special committees, special events, the auction, you know about it, this is all your stuff. I'm just asking them if they want to see it. The prayer. 710's here. Recommendation.
Simple.
That's it. Yeah. Ah, ready. I just want to know if you guys want to see any of this stuff. You guys want to see any of it? Time now is 6:03. We will begin the informal session of the City of Tonawanda Council meeting. Mayor, you got anything?
I do.
Floor is yours. Have at it.
The first thing I wanted to let you know is the East Hill Foundation has given us a grant for $25,000 to purchase 2 viewfinders that we're going to put on the fishing pier in Niawanda Park. We have a big bird sanctuary that travels through this corridor, and through their foundation, as again, no cost to the city. We're going to put 2 viewfinders that are also handicap accessible. They have a second viewing station that if you were in a wheelchair disabled, you'd be able to come up and view this. The second $1,000 grant from them was to do signage so that we can kind of give a little information on what you would be looking at. And the ultimate plan is to put a QR code on that, and you'd be able to go to it and then get all kinds of information on what birds you're looking at, different things. Along with that, we had enough money that we can purchase 15 more Adirondack chairs for the park. The big area we want to do is the point where the canal and the little river come together. There's some old wood benches there with concrete bases that look terrible or in rough shape, and that'll redo that area. So I can't thank them enough for granting us this grant and believing in the city and what we're doing in the park. The second part is the LDC wants to do a street Saturday, a street block party on Main Street. The event is actually July 25th. We had to work out what they wanted to shut down on Main Street. At first, they wanted more than just Niagara to Broad. They wanted to take it all the way to Fletcher. So we had to have some meetings with the police chief to work out that route. They finalized that yesterday, or maybe even today, that they are just going to shut Main Street from Niagara to Broad. The reason I'm bringing this up is, one, they wanted it on the agenda tonight, but I couldn't get it finished until we knew the exact route. But they obviously want to promote this and advertise it for the businesses downtown. So I'm kind of asking for your informal, are you for this, even though we can approve it on the 21st, that they can go ahead and start advertising it and not worry about whether it's going to go through or not.
Ask the council, Jim,
I have no problem.
Susan. Jason.
So they're already advertising, but no issue.
I can't hear you. Lisa, I can't hear you.
I said they're already advertising, but no problem.
Oh, perfect. I got no problem either, so there you go for it.
Okay, great. The second one is we have a special events permit for August 8th from 1 to 6. And it's for the League of Women Voters, get out the vote kind of event. They want to do it in the pavilion on Canal Street. And in talking previously with the council president, we don't really have a policy on, is that available? Can you reserve it? Can't you reserve it? What are the parameters? Is there a rental fee? Right now, there is no rental fee. We have had other events there, but normally they've been tied to the city. I think we should go ahead and do this and come up with a policy. And do you want to rent it? I think we should have parameters that we don't want to just have some family reunion down there and cut access to the public. So there would need to be some kind of policy, but I guess I'm asking, what direction do you want to take on this? The event is August 8th, so we have a little bit of time. Actually, I'll let Jim come up. You want to explain it? You could probably do it better than I. Tim's the one who,
Please come up, have a seat.
I don't see.
Please stand.
This is Unite and Rise from the League of Women Voters. This is also part of another bigger thing. It's the voters' rights that were signed in 1965, August 6th. So what we're trying to do is educate people on our voter rights. And this is all, we're nonpartisan, nothing involved with that. But this is also a small part of a statewide thing. It's called Conversations on the Canal. So from Buffalo all the way to New York City, leagues and organizations across the entire state will be meeting that day for a couple hours, very open to public, so people can ask questions. What is my right to vote? Who is voting? We want to do voter registration. It's all about education. And that's the entire purpose of it. We're not aligning with anybody. Different organizations will be involved that will, immigration rights, people who are, have many different aspects to their voting rights. And it's just an educational day.
Just a couple of hours.
Couple hours.
No
We didn't know what
fewer
kind of
than-
hours it was. All we would need was asking for a microphone, but that's about it. What our goal is to push the business. If you're hungry, go down to the street. There's restaurants, there's a Twin City Deli, there's the coffee shop, there's the Hollow Place, Mooney's, just bringing a community together. And people are unaware of their rights as a voter because we've been slashed and killed by everything.
How do we give the pavilion the Green Beer Sunday? Do we rent it to them?
It's a
Gateway.
The city has an agreement with Gateway Harbor. So all events, Gateway Harbor is supposed to be part of all scheduling on either side of the canal. So what I was going to suggest is, as long as the event is public and is open to the public and does not conflict with any of the Gateway Harbor rules, it's fine. I mean, that's your public policy. As long as it's a public event, it doesn't conflict, and Gateway Harbor is notified by the city or something that this event is.
I think that just summed it up right there. Because you're saying like the family picnic or family, but they would rent it for exclusive right. He's saying if it's open to the public, then we don't have that issue. This is an event open to the public.
It's an event open to the public. That's the way it should be. And for instance, you had your Oktoberfest. The firemen run the Oktoberfest. That's open to the public. That's part of the Gateway event. That's what the pavilion is for. So
Can somebody just go and have a family picnic
No.
without us?
they want to do that, they can go to the closing.
But if they just wanted to have, picnic.
Right, no, it's gotta be something that's open to the public, because it's not a public, it's not a street. So technically,
Yeah, I suppose they could. They just couldn't
Yeah, they can.
stop you from coming and joining.
Right.
I mean, if it's a public event such as this, I mean, that's what the whole idea is for.
I have no problem with this.
So what's the plan then? He has to file a special permit with the city like everybody else would.
He did already.
Okay, and then he has to clear it with Gateway that the date's available.
Well, no, the mayor would just notify Gateway that this event's going on.
I'll do
And,
that.
you know, we just clear it, but we don't have any conflicting, we don't, it's exactly, that's Saturday. Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, the only thing that was going on would be Friday night.
We did the same procedure. They did the special events, went through all the department heads. I held it at my level because of these questions. So I can contact Gateway, make sure it's not, and then it can be on the agenda for the next meeting.
So we don't need them to come up with a citywide policy for renting it out because we don't have the authority to rent it.
Technically, the city does not, it has to go through Gateway, but I don't, like I said, as long as we're notified and you approve it, that's fine. But it should be something that's open to the public.
Okay, all right. Okay,
That's enough. Thanks.
Thanks, Timothy.
Um. One of the things we found through my assistant, Marty Grunswig, we were supposed to be, because Seymour Street is a state route, we are supposed to get a maintenance fee from the state for maintaining it, whether it's potholes, accidents, plowing, salting, whatever. We'll come to find out we hadn't submitted an invoice since 2019. So we're owed $76,000, which they're going to give us. They gave us the dates of the invoices that we needed to submit. The treasurer submitted them, and it's in process. The point of that is one of the things I wanted to bring up to the council to start talking. We brought this up before about the sidewalks in our downtown. Specifically, this would be Main Street between Broad and Salem Church. So I guess I should back up a minute. We bid out the sidewalks for this year to get a low bid with the money that you normally spend. In talking with the engineer and knowing before even this, that there was a real problem with that whole area, and Councilman Fisher's been in on it, on should we take out sidewalk, put grass in? But basically we were probably looking at $60,000 to $70,000 to fix that stretch of sidewalk. What were we gonna do? When the engineer bid out the project, he did that as an amendment alternative bid. So it's not part of any money that we would have spent before, but we do have that as here's what it would be to fix that. And the estimate came in, which was really good, about 60 grand with the contract or proposal that would be accepted. So I just wanted to throw it out there to let you think about it. One, thanks to Marty, and it's great that we're getting $76,000 that we didn't know we were entitled to. But two, to do something productive for this city and to make an impact on something that really needs to be taken care of. My recommendation would be, rather than just throwing that back into the budget, the general, to consider doing that stretch of sidewalk. We're trying to build our downtown. We're going to have that great DRI project behind it, but in front of it's not all that great either. And that stretch of sidewalk is horrendous and needs to be addressed in one fashion or one way or another.
Are you gonna repair the whole thing?
That would be the whole thing.
Not the
We got,
rest?
because the problem is if we put, no, right now it's all concrete, but the thought was it'd be cheaper if we just put a sidewalk in and grass. One, the businesses have reached out to the engineer. Jason, you want to come up? You talk to him, and you could just, the issues with putting grass in aren't as easy as.
Who's gonna cut it?
There's a couple things that we looked at. First of all, it's always kind of weird when you looked at Main Street. If you look at the east side of Main Street, it does have that strip of grass between the curb and the sidewalk. Sorry, the west side. The east side does not. It's kind of no curb. But the reason for that is that's where all the parking is. So people park on the east side of Main Street, get out of their cars so they can walk right onto the concrete. There's no area to muddy or whatever. So I think it makes sense to keep that as concrete. We'll also require some curb work because the curb is pretty bad in some certain locations. That would have to be replaced, and we'd run the concrete straight to the curb like this. But yeah, there's also issues with business owners, because if we did make it grass, let's just say that you're going to go that route, then, we obviously that'll be part of the product, and plant the grass and grow. But as far as maintenance goes, that area is always maintained by the property, the adjacent property owner. So like in your house, you have to mow that area between the sidewalk and the curb. It would be the same thing on Main Street if you want grass.
Do we have enough money to do the curbs too?
Yeah.
It's rather to it.
So-
Well, I don't need an answer now. It's just because we don't have the money from the state yet, but it was just, this was a,
So you just get rid of the bad sidewalk, place that. do the
Yeah.
curbs.
But I do want to be clear that you guys had 2 resolutions today. One was the sidewalk project. That was an alt bid to the sidewalk project. It is not included in that price. So we're not awarding that today. That was an alternate. We have the price from the contractor. So you guys have, the ability to think about it. If it makes sense, then we can go ahead and we'll award all later.
And
and it was before this even came up. Like, we just knew this would be our best price for the and we know it has to be somehow addressed. So we did that alt bid before we knew any of this, and then when this came through, it was a perfect area that's not going to spend cash. So I just wanted to bring that up to let you know. The last thing, it just came up with the bills and the treasurer. Adam, you should probably come up here. So a couple years ago, it started that resolution 2 or 3 is always council approves bills as audited and approves the payment. Adam, as a treasurer, didn't feel comfortable paying any bill before the council resolution without the approval in case the council said no. We ran into some issues, and I know they tweaked it because we were getting late fees for our electric bill. We were getting late fees for our gas bill because the way the council fell by the time the checks get out. And there are other things that we were getting billed for with late fees. To me, I don't understand why actually we're doing this. To me, the council passed the budget. If the superintendent of public works has the money in his equipment line to buy an ATV and I approve it, I'm not understanding why it has to wait until the council officially approves it. I guess to me, that's a massive micromanagement thing. Your bite at the apple, in my opinion, is you approve the budget. Like, are you going to approve paper clips? Like, what if somebody needs a computer? And what happens to the city if we get a computer and the payment's due 30 days and they run a check and you say no? You can't send the computer back. Like, I don't understand why that's in there. To me, it should be just a report that you can still look at. Adam can generate it before a council meeting and you can get it and look at the bills. And if you have questions, have questions. But as long as it's not a transfer, that the superintendent didn't take it from DPW and put it in parks, or he didn't have the money and he said, I need extra money to buy this because it broke, absolutely needs council approval. But to do this on a day-to-day or council, it bogs everything down. And you could tell about the weekly runs.
Let me address this first, okay, if I could. The charters, unfortunately, over the course of time, council's always done their boilerplate resolutions. And even though the charter has changed, you still have the same boilerplate resolutions. And some of them just don't pertain any. One of them is this. If you read the charter and what the treasurer is authorized to do, the department head comes to the treasurer and says, I want an ATV out of my equipment budget, and the money is there. The treasurer should be writing the check. As long as the mayor says that's fine. If you read the charter, that's what it says. And the treasurer's responsibility is to keep track and make sure that the expenditures don't exceed the line item budget. So as long as that's the treasurer's responsibility. So no matter what it is, if a department head comes and says, I want this out of my budget, you're entitled to it. You've approved the budget already. That's
And your
in a nutshell.
your second bite at the apple then is next year's budget or when we discuss the provisions and the economic benefits of that department head? If you,
By the expenditures for the 2 weeks or the month, whatever you do, we provide you to the council, so if you have a question as to what this was for, or what line item it came under, you can ask.
but if something was purchased that you weren't comfortable with, that a time to address it then is the next budget, when you either cut that equipment line, or if it's an economic benefit for that particular department head, that's how you hold them accountable to not do useless, wasteless spending. But to do this every 2 weeks just doesn't make any sense to me. You could talk about running it every week then too.
Yeah, I mean, we used to run it every week. It's easier for me to do. It's easier to pay the bills on time. People know that they can just get it every week. Give me a little more freedom and it on a yearly basis rather than basically every week basis. At this point, we cut checks twice a month, as you guys know. Cut it after we leave here tonight. I can definitely provide a check register rather than a PO approval report. Basically, here's what we paid already, more so than here's your approval pay. You can enter that into the official correspondence, so it'll be foilable, it'll be all official. Outside of that.
So would you pay all the bills this way? And we wouldn't have that resolution on the.
You don't need that, you can change the resolution to say we've reviewed the bills.
Yeah, you
Accept them as paid.
Yeah, viewed as paid or something. Change the language of it, I guess.
Technically, it
the other
exceeds
way.
your authority, actually.
Yeah, I know,
That's-
just wasn't always on, was it?
It's always been there since for the last 50 years, that same resolution's been in league.
Really simple. Things are upstate. So do we need a resolution?
What's that?
Do we need a resolution to change this?
Or do we just let that one take out?
You shouldn't be approving it because it's up to the treasurer to write, if a department head comes and it falls within his budget, the treasurer is obligated to write the check. So it hasn't been working that way, obviously, since that new charter's been,
So if Adam were to see something that he didn't think was appropriate,
go to the mayor, come to you.
okay,
I would go to the mayor, I would have to go to the mayor.
The mayor's a day-to-day operation,
Mayor,
so
I should not.
there's some question. But he should be writing checks as the department, because you're supposed to be streamlining this and making it so that things don't get bogged down.
Yeah, you gotta hit your net 30.
oh, yeah.
I mean, and certainly you're entitled to review all expenditure.
And it didn't come about until this one with the ATV, and I was like, I thought we're not transferring or asking money, why is this going out? And then started getting into the conversation. He needed the check and it just broke down. I'm like, why are we doing this? So anyway. So we don't, what do you want?
It doesn't matter, it's up to the council here, we can either change the wording of that second resolution to just say that, we reviewed that. We come up with the language and or we could drop.
You can only say reviewing expenditures. That's it. I
Yeah,
mean,
no approval. nothing.
Those just remove it.
you
I'm
can
fine
move
to
it all
just
together.
remove it and then just put a-
He can
just put
still
the-
submit to you.
Just put the check
expenditures.
register as a course.
On request, I mean, get that right.
I can just submit it as a correspondence and I'll run it, same, like, so I'm trying to get the checks to you guys Thursday before council, so I'll just run it Thursday before council to, and then obviously the start date of the next report will be the Thursday before the last council meeting, the Thursday before, and I'll keep providing them, and I'll have the date range listed on the title of the report and what days they're from, and it'll just, like I said, it'll be a check register, so the report will look a little different than what you guys have seen. Because it'll be more like this check is to pay these bills versus this PO needs approval. Because the reports you guys get, the checks don't exist at that point. Work on
Okay, good.
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
That's up.
You got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to your public hearing and you have the auditors here. What do you want to do next? Are the auditors presenting a formal presentation to us?
Yeah.
They can be able to get it done in the next 9 minutes? Okay, come on up. We have an informal at 6:30. I'm sorry, we have a public hearing at 6:30 with a de minimis overage. Got about 9 minutes.
Okay, challenge accepted. So we have some handouts for the board. Matt Montalvo and Mike Kraus from Drescher Malecki. So we perform the city's external audit. So this is a financial statement audit on your year ended December 31st, 2025. I like to clarify, and I'm going to try to do this quickly. I do like to clarify what that means. As an audit, we're looking at the actual records of the city. We don't give an opinion on the budget. That's a clarification. We don't do any projections. We look at the actual books and records, and we provide independent outside assurance that you as a board, you as management can rely on the information and the books and the records of the city. So when you go into the next budget process and the treasurer provides, monthly reports or here are your financial statements, you can rely on those. These are accurate numbers to base our decisions on. So as an independent third party, our primary responsibility is to give an opinion on statements. So there is one modification related to the housing authority not being included in the financials of the city. But outside of that, everything that we looked at that the city is in control of, we provided in what's referred to as an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion on the financial statements. We believe that your records fairly represent your financial position and can be relied upon by the city and outside third parties. We provide also a management letter and standard auditor communications. These are going to give our best practices, recommendations on areas of improvement. Also just our observations on the financial operations of the city. I'll quickly overview those on page 2. I talked about what our responsibility is. That is to provide that opinion. We don't take any responsibility for the books and records. So that's all based on the management of the city. They prepare everything. We are independent. That's free of conflicts of interest from the city. That allows us to be objective in performing our audit and ultimately providing the report financial statements. I'll skip over to page 3. We'll start in the general fund. So what we do is we try to provide you with a trend going backwards. Like I said, we don't make any projections, but we want to provide our observations on the financial trend. So in the general fund, we look at the last 5 years. And I think what jumps out at you is that trend of revenues exceeding expenditures in each of the last 4 years reversed in 2025. And we saw it for the first time in many years, expenditures exceeding revenues. So this is a common trend that we're seeing in local governments in New York State and probably around the country, but the ones we work with are in New York. 2024 probably would have had that trend, but you had that one-time federal ARPA revenue that kind of inflated the revenues. So the trend that we're seeing with local governments is a flat revenue trend, which you can see from 24 to 25, and then a pretty consistent increase on the expenditure side as you talk about salaries, benefits, inflation, debt, principal, and interest as you take on additional debt, pension obligations. Kind of the cost of doing business in governments in New York State is that is the predictable trend. So what that shows is your fund balance within the general fund decreased just over $500,000. And on the next slide, we're going to show how that impacts your fund balance. How am I doing on time?
5 minutes.
All right. So how that impacts fund balance, same thing, 5-year trend. So when you have a decrease, when your expenditures exceed your revenues, your fund balance goes down, and the opposite, fund balance goes up. So the last 4 years, you can see that increase in fund balance. In 2025, we started to see a decrease. So fund balance is broken up into certain components, and this is important because it's based on how restrictive the funds are or how you can use them. If you have those in a restricted category or non-spendable, they're either legally restricted for a specific purpose, whether it be a capital project, to pay back debt service, something that is a prepaid expenditure and you've already sent the cash out the door. Assigned is assigned or earmarked for a specific purpose. So it does have some restriction, but it is not as restrictive by legal statute. And then the unassigned, and that's really the only truly available fund balance. So that was about $9.5 million at the end of 2025. And this represents about 30% of your budget. Your fund, that is, it's above your minimum threshold in your fund balance policy. Your fund balance policy says you should have a minimum of 16%. That's 2 months of operating. That's kind of where the best practices start as a minimum. That's pretty consistent to have about 2 months. You're at 30%, so you're in a stable position. But as you can see, if that fund balance starts to decline, you get closer and closer to that minimum threshold. And then you start seeing issues like cash flow issues, deficits, the things that you don't really want to get into. So that's the general fund trend. I'll quickly go through the sewer fund. The sewer fund, a pretty stable trend over the last 5 years on page 5. You did see a small increase in 2025, but similarly, you're going to see those expenditures on the rise, and revenues have been pretty consistent. Obviously, that's different from the real property taxes, dependent more on, you know, sewer rents, consumption, those sorts of factors. And then the fund balance on page 6, right around $1.6 million in the sewer fund, an increase from the prior year. So sewer's in a stable position as far as fund balance as well. As far as our overall observations on fund balance stability and planning for the future, those two major funds, those are your major operating funds. We talked about the restrictions with commitments and assignments, future budget challenges going into 2027. A lot of governments consider 27 to be the most challenging budget that they've seen in several years. My prediction, even though we don't make predictions, is that it's going to continue to get it more and more challenging each year. Just with pension obligations in New York State, inflation, and then again, that revenue side, we're not seeing the increases that we saw 3-4 years ago coming out of the pandemic, where sales tax was double-digit increase as the economy came back. So now those major revenue sources that you don't really have a lot of control over, state aid, sales tax, interest earnings, those are starting to flatten out. And then really the real property tax is really the only revenue you have control over, but you're subject to the property tax cap. Obviously you want to minimize that burden on your residents. So it is a challenge. It is a significant challenge going forward for governments and the city as far as that budget trend. You know, but from the fund balance side, you do have cash flow to handle the operations over the next year. You know, just those are the things that would be the biggest, you know, kind of caution out of the audit. A couple items, and there's obviously a lot of new faces this year. We talked about a lot of things last year as far as being ready for the audit. We did our final report for the 24 audit in November. So being here, that we're here in July, ready to give the audit results, shows a significant improvement in the treasurer's office as far as getting that information ready. We talked a lot about staffing, and does Adam need help doing a lot of that year-end close and getting the records in, you know, in audit ready status. We still believe he could use some additional help. That's obviously another decision, you know, that you have going forward. He was able to get bank reconciliations in 2025 up to date, but we reported last year there were some unreconciled errors from past years. So he still has to clean up some of those old items. It was a significant improvement during 2025, you know, but that's kind of a challenge that we're seeing there with local governments right now, is having adequate staffing within that finance office, where you have, you know, 1 or 2 individuals with that expertise, with the ability to kind of move that, you know, that to a level where you have someone preparing information and reviewing information. That's really kind of the optimal level. And then as far as other observations, just I think always budget monitoring for local governments, as you know, you're entering a pretty challenging budget, being able to be on top of any changes that you need to make throughout the year and making sure that everyone's staying within their budgets. But all in all, like I said, we're here in July, a big improvement from the prior year. We should be in a position to issue final statements. We just go through our final quality control reviews before the end of July. And that gets you into I believe the fiscal stress system. So you get rated on that and evaluated at the OSC level. So any questions? I didn't leave too much time for that. Sorry, I apologize.
All right.
No, just our residents see the crosshairs of. We're kind of going.
Also look at 22 is where, 22 is where it started to go up. So to the bend at 22. Yeah. Just remember back in 22.
Expenses.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dramatic.
Started at 22. All right. Good. By the way, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone's time. You too. Thanks. You too.
Okay. Sign, we will turn the informal session over to the mayor for the hearing on amending chapter 62.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing for resolution number 3, which is to amend the code, specifically chapter 62, traffic and vehicles, to add article 6, use of electronic and motorized devices. If you come up and you just list your name,
Have the city clerk read it first.
but do you want the whole thing? We didn't in the past.
City attorney, are we required to have the city clerk read? No? Okay.
Posted everywhere.
Okay. Okay.
We'll have you come up, state your name, your address, and we're going to try to limit it to 3 minutes at a time, just in case there's multiple people that want to speak. So anyone now that would like to speak on this open public meeting, please come forward. Yep, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Jones. I live at 182 Claremont in the town of Tonawanda. Although I am also the complete streets engineer for Go Bike Buffalo. I'm on the board at Shared Mobility, which operates the Ready Bikes, the Red Bikes in Tonawanda and the Intermodal Hub. I'm also the chair of the Rotary of the Tonawandas. And tonight, I'd just like to offer some comments from Go Bike and Shared Mobility to help support the city's efforts in managing the use of e-bikes and e-motos. So we submitted a letter by email, and I have a copy here as well that I'll hand out to the board, or the council rather. But basically, we just want to ensure that you are successful in your efforts to manage this situation, because it is a national issue. There is a big influence of vehicles out there of a multitude of varieties that are not really vetted yet or described in New York State vehicle and traffic law. However, e-bikes themselves are defined in vehicle traffic law in New York State. And basically there are 3 tiers: class 1, class 2, and class 3. So class 1 is basically a pedal assist bicycle that cannot go more than 20 miles an hour. The motor will not let it go more than 20 miles an hour. It's a 750 watt motor, and that's by New York State law. The type 2 is similar, except it does have a throttle, but it still maxes out at 20 miles an hour. And by definition, they are legal vehicles on the road and defined in vehicle traffic law. The 3rd tier is one that can go in exceedance of 28 miles an hour. And those are also classified as e-motos. And there's a variety of devices similar to that. There are homemade devices that can go out and do these things. So those definitions of vehicles, we want to make sure that you have as much accuracy as possible so you can be supported if there's a challenge, a legal challenge. And we want you to be successful in managing this issue. So bicycles, we had a quick email from the attorney today that he's in agreement with us with respect to adjusting or clarifying the language with respect to the definition of the bicycle, the all-terrain bicycle. Human power is analog bike, which I rode tonight. And then the class 1 and class 2, those are all legal bicycles under New York State law. And they're well defined, they're well regulated already. And they can be sold at bike shops. Now the class 3s are the ones that are being bought online from vendors outside of New York State and within New York State. It's still trying to catch up. And there's a multitude of other laws that are trying to catch up with this issue too. So I just want to make sure that, the city is
in a good position to support the opportunities that bicycles provide, the freedom that bicycles provide, and the attraction of the Niawanda Park, the Empire State Trail, the waterway. The vibrancy is bootstrapped by the bicycle, and always has been for the past 150 years. So we want to make sure that that's continued to be successful. And the last thing is, Go Bike also offers educational programs and services. So I'd like to share this with the mayor. So perhaps work with the school district and continue your efforts for bicycle education. It's a combination of not only enforcement, it's a combination of engineering and education as well. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand these materials out. Here's a letter from Go Bike. And also, this is a memo that went to New York State Transportation Committee from the New York State Streets Coalition. So it reinforces what you're doing here. We all struggle with this. So we want to make sure that you're as successful as possible. And here's that. This, and this, and the training. All right, thank you. And thank you very much.
This is the one you emailed to us, right?
Yeah, we want to make sure that it was received by file. All right, thank you.
Did you file one with the city clerk?
Filed it.
I see the list of people you've included with here. Did you email it to the city clerk at all? I'll give this copy to the city
No,
clerk.
I don't think it was. I have an extra.
You have an extra? City clerk, be on the line. All right. File this at the conclusion of this informal and this public hearing. Before we go into the formal, we will, or after the time frame with these set times, we will forward this to the city clerk to be received. All right. Oh, city clerk, great.
Hi, good evening. You'll have to apologize my nervousness. It's been a while since I've spoken publicly. My name is Ryan Canale. I live at 137 Frederick Road here in the city of Tonawanda in the first ward. I read the legislation. I found out about the accidents recently, and I was pretty appalled reading the proposal as it's currently structured. I have several major problems with it. Just for reference and full disclosure, I have a Class 2 e-bike. I've had one since 2021. I've ridden it over 900 miles from Tonawanda, down the bike trails, over to Grand Island, down to Buffalo Sabres games, and everywhere in between. So I love that thing, and I hate to see its utility restricted. General point 4 is the start of it. So the proposal includes a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit for all e-bikes as I read it. I oftentimes ride in the street, and there's a lot of roads in the city of Tonawanda that don't have bike protection. I'm not asking for that, but there are parts where it's just not safe to be on the road. And I ride anyways because it's illegal to ride on the sidewalk, and I understand. To lower me to 15 miles per hour while I'm asked to share the road with multi-ton vehicles that can squish me or any person who's just out walking, moderately frustrating. It increases the speed differential. I'm already getting past, and you're asking me to go even slower. If you are asking to restrict me from Niawanda Park, you're also forcing me in the traffic, especially up by Seymour, over by Dairy Queen. Road separation has gone in there. If you're asking me not to enter the park at all, that road separation would have to come back up, because I would not be able to go down the bike trail, which again, it's a beautiful bike trail. Love being down it. General point 11 includes insurance. Point on insurance, I'm not really sure if I follow what the board is proposing here. So you're asking anyone who's operating an e-bike to have either motor insurance, homeowners insurance, or renter's insurance, some sort of insurance. I'm not entirely sure what my former renter's insurance or my current homeowner's insurance. I do have auto insurance. If I didn't, I question what those forms of insurance would do if trying to make a claim against some sort of accident. It seems like to me that would be outside the view of those insurance policies. So I ask the board to reconsider that requirement. For point 8, you're asking for a new legislation requirement to not chain bikes to poles, to trees, to anything. I mentioned earlier I have a Class 2 e-bike. It's a fat tire e-bike, and While cars have parking minimums, you have to go to if you build something, you have to have parking minimum. You don't have that requirement for bikes. So oftentimes the easiest place and the safest place for you to chain a bike up is to a tree or to a pole. And so long as it's not the way, I don't understand why you would impose potential fines and seizure of bike. If I were to just put a bike away from the sidewalk. I ask you to please reconsider that piece of legislation. And then the penalty structure, I understand you need to have penalties if you're going to be imposing restrictions on bikes. However, I have concerns specifically about the long-lived duration of these penalties. It starts at, like, if I remember correctly, about $50, goes up to $250, and by the third penalty for any of the proposed new restrictions on bike operation, e-bike or medical mobility, each city kind of want to seize that vehicle and sell it. You know, if you got 2 speeding tickets growing up and then you got a parking ticket today, 30 or 40 years later, I find that to be unlikely that you'd be very happy having your car seized and sold for proceeds for the city of Tonopah. So I ask you to please reconsider language there. Do not pass that as it is today. So I guess in conclusion, I'm not arguing about the safety components. I understand the need for bells, the lights, all that. But I ask you to please do not add additional restrictions where they're not needed. And please try and keep it within the class structure that has been laid out by the state of New York, class 1, class 2, class 3, as explained by the gentleman earlier. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
You started off, you said you ride this device to like disable, which device did you say you ride it? Class 3?
It's class 2.
Oh, class 2.
Yes.
You ride a class 2 pedal assisted bike that doesn't go faster than 20 miles per hour.
Correct. So I take rails trails down to the train station where I am able to take the elevators down and get that on the subway, and then I can ride around downtown Buffalo and then take the first back. It was actually really great being in the playoffs for the first time in a long time because it was warm enough to do that. So it was really nice. I got to avoid like $50 parking.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Down a little bit. My name is Wally Kenzie. I live at 130 Walter Avenue. And I too own a bike. It's a class 1/class 2. It does not have a throttle, but I can get mine to go to 28 miles an hour maximum if I really want to pedal that thing as hard as I can possibly pedal it. And it's very rare that I do that. I tend to ride the bike path along State Street through crossing Cranbrook over to Sheridan Drive, and or I'll ride the bike paths along the river here, down from the Grand Island Bridges, maybe up toward Tonawanda. The two things that I find confusing, or one challenging one, is when you're on the bike path and there's a lot of people on the bike path, there's a lot of people wearing earbuds, they're wearing headsets. I have a bell on my bike that was installed from factory, and I'm in the bike lane, but the people are also in the bike lane. So I'm dinging my bell, trying to like let them know that I'm coming up behind them. And with those devices on, they either can't hear me or they're ignoring. So I'm going on the grass, going around them, and every once in a while I kind of get the kind gesture of the middle finger. Then on the other token is on those bike paths, there's little stop signs. And one, particularly I'll talk about the Cranbrook one. And there's stop signs for the bike path, but there's no stop signs for the street. So there's kind of a warning that there's a cross bike path walk area. And so I've watched and observed cars slow down, look. I've watched cars just blow right through. And I even watched school buses go right through. I personally slow down. I try to do my best to look, but it's also challenging at the Cranbrook one because you have a lot of shrubbery on both sides. So you can only see a small section of the bike path. So you kind of are creeping forward, and all of a sudden here comes somebody on maybe a class 3 and or some other modified device, and they're easily doing 40, 50 miles an hour. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. And so I can't imagine that there hasn't been a close call yet, or even an accident. But my point is that, and my question is, who's right? Does the bike path people have to stop when they come to a side street such as Cranbrook? Or are they allowed to just keep on going through. Stop sign to me says stop. But we kind of all know that even on people on cars don't necessarily stop at the stop signs. So Elwood and Walter is a perfect example, because I sit on my front porch and watch them go through there 50, 60 miles an hour, and they're right through that stop sign. So I guess there's some sort of a communication and or knowledge that has to be given out to the bike path's responsibilities and the street's responsibilities. I, as a driver, certainly do not want to hit and injure and or possibly kill somebody that's on a bike, or even just a jogger for that matter. But yet you can't help but see these devices and people buzzing right through those stops. So either they're ignoring a stop sign, they don't see the stop sign, it needs to be bigger, or it needs to be communicated. And so those are some of my concerns and thoughts going forward. So stop signs, the headphone sets, you know, being able to hear whatever is coming up behind you is important. I've learned now, my best advice for me is I start riding my bike at 7 o'clock in the morning when there's less congestion and hopefully less things going on. So I don't end up being that one person who has to live with the rest of their lives of potentially hitting something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl Lynch, I didn't come here to talk about that, but in regards to that, the corner of Alexander and Young Street, multiple times, you can't even see that crosswalk. There's so many people that almost literally got killed because people turned right off of Alexander, and there's shrubbery there, and there's the crosswalk for the bike path. And there really should be sign or should be painted again, so that people are aware. When you make a right there, it literally is right there. So if you're not from this area and you make a right, possibly somebody that's crossing is gonna get hit. So I don't know if any of you have noticed that, but it is a concern because I live over there, so I see it every day. People go with stop signs. So.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Daplack. I live at the 25 9 Shore. I believe I sent you an email a while back with a bunch of comments. I'm not sure if it got distributed or not. First of all, I agree with a number of the comments made here. And one of the things that I think is important is that we need to look at the enforceability of any of these rules. One in particular is like the insurance pool. What am I supposed to carry with me to show a police officer that I am in fact insured? There's no way I would even know what to carry. I know what to do in a car, but that's one of the main reasons for this is for the bike path along the river. And there's only really one paragraph in here that covers it. And it only covers what are called all-terrain cycles, which are really poorly defined. I tried to look it up, and it's kind of a weird class that doesn't really have a good definition. And it's a human-powered vehicle. It is not motorized, and that's in your definition. And that means bicycles need to only go 5 miles per hour or less along the main stretch. I don't know if you tried to ride 5 miles per hour, but I did. I experimented, and you really have to struggle to get going just that slow. And I also observed other people and tried to find people that looked like they were going very casually. And I did, and found that they were going, because I had a bicycle computer, I followed them at a safe distance. And they were going between 8 and 9 at a very casual pace. And these were some senior women and a couple of guys that I checked, and that's about the rate they were going. And no one would say they were going fast, and they were completely safe. So I think the speed limit of 5 is really difficult. On the lights and bells, they're already in the New York State code for bicycles, and e-bikes apply to bicycles. So I'm not sure they need to also be applied there. And nowhere do you say they actually have to be used, which there are some regulations in the state and so on, which indicate times that they're supposed to be installed and used. And so I think that that could disrupt and just reference the state guidelines. There's countless other ones, but I think those are the main ones. One other comment on the bike path. In front of Eucalypt, where you come out of the bike path and onto the road there, are you familiar with that area? That's very, very unsafe. There have been 2 occasions last year where I made the turn and I was on the bike path heading towards the Canal Street section, and cars wanting to make a right-hand turn cut over into the bike paths and almost did a head-on right in front of me. And I was aware and paying attention, but you know, they were blocked by other cars, so they just cut over at the last minute. So that's a really, really unsafe spot. So something to consider. I think that's it, except it would be helpful to review.
I think that's just been addressed. If they put cones out there in front of the restaurant house. I just saw it today. Yeah, I just, you know, they put some out so it gives them more depth. I understand.
Yeah. Well,
Who did that? The restaurant or city?
I believe
No,
the city.
we were doing them, we were waiting
City
for
did.
them in.
You put them in.
Okay.
And in terms of signage and so on, in the park along the river and also at that turn, people that aren't familiar with the area might not know which lanes are the bike lanes, which aren't, which lanes to walk in and so on. There's people walking dogs with long leashes that they're standing in the walking lane, and the dog is all the way into the grass, and the leash is strung right across the bike path and so on. I think it'd be really good to just observe what the current conditions are. And I did send that letter. I think you might have received it with a bunch of comments. Either that or I can.
Send it to details.
Okay. Thank you.
Send it to all.
Okay, I'll do that.
You could.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. This is I'm with Living to Orange. One concern I do have, I think you mentioned earlier, is how we're going to enforce these proposals. There's a lot of comment about e-bikes. We're not like that today. We have non-regular bikes going at least 30 miles an hour. So it's not just the e-bikes that are concerned. Again, I'm just wondering how it's all be enforced. If we have people with radar guns out there, or we have bike patrols. Just wondering about the enforcement part. Something about.
Police chief?
We recently received a grant from State Senator Thomas that does a handheld battery operated radar gun that we can use down like that. Last of our teams down there, sort of doesn't take power, small radar handheld that we'll be able to utilize.
Deputy City Clerk, do we have anyone online wishing to speak?
No, Mayor, no one right now.
Second call here. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Are you just speaking on that resolution?
Yes, this is a public hearing for the e-bike resolution.
One more thing I forgot, and it just occurred last week. Class 1 and Class 2 bikes are legal in New York. The others are questionable in legality. An emerging problem in the city is the number of children on e-motos. They're essentially non-bicycles. They don't have pedals. They just have foot pegs, and they look like motocross bikes. And there was a group at the right in front of Prescott's Provisions, there were 6 or 8 there, and those things can go very fast. And all of the people saw were definitely under 16, which is requirement for any motorized conveyance. So something to think about in terms of how to address that. I think it would be good to educate the kids and also the adults that are buying these for their kids, because they're going to be very disappointed if you take them away from them or tell them they can't ride.
Thank you.
Be interesting. I'm going to address a couple of the items that were brought up. First of all, I've suggested an amendment to the all-terrain cycle, which would include the class 1 and class 2 bikes allowed to be down on the bike paths. Clarify that. I think what people have to understand is, under the vehicle and traffic law of the state of New York, there's not some, other than those bikes that are defined as that, e-bikes and e-scooters are not permitted on the bike path, period. And if I take you to the mayor's office and you look out the window, there's about 15 to 20 people that are going to ride by right now on those type bikes. So that's number one. Those type bikes, I've suggested at 15 miles an hour in the road. I find that to be within the city limits, safe, and it's done in North Tonawanda, it's done in East Aurora. This is not new to the area. Secondly, the reason why we don't allow people to chain their bikes to poles, trees, signs, is that when you do that, whoever owns that property incurs the liability. You park your bike like you park a car. If it's in the street, you park it there. If it's allowed, you can park it anywhere where it's allowed, where a car is allowed to park, but you can't chain it to public property or to private property without the owner's consent. So that addresses that issue. 5 miles an hour. I understand it's slow. You're not going to get a ticket for doing a 6 or 7 any more than a vehicle gets a ticket for doing 31, 32, 33. The problem isn't just the bikes down there. I get that, and we all get that. It's pedestrians as well. It's young parents with children, dogs with long leashes, and serious congestion between Franklin and City Hall. At night, I've walked it every night. My wife almost got hit the other night. So we all get it. So I understand that you say you have trouble with 5 miles an hour, then you may have to walk your bike. Problem is that kids don't care about lines, especially 2 and 3 year olds up to 5 years. I had to tell 3 teenagers to move out of the bike lane the other night myself while I was walking because bikes were going in and around them. So I understand that problem, but we have to address it in some fashion. The reason why we're addressing it is so that the city doesn't get sued. Our taxes don't go up as a result. We have a $25,000 you pay before it gets to the insurance. We had an e-bike accident here that I'm having a trial on in 2 weeks. Thank God the e-bike who crashed into the car had insurance. So you can get insurance for an e-bike. So you don't have to present it that, but we want these things to be insured if you're going to drive them, if you're going to operate. And those, other than class 1 or class 2, all the e-bikes should be operated in the road in accordance with the vehicle and traffic. And I realize that some things in this ordinance may be redundant, but there's nothing wrong with redundancy. That's education. So I think I've addressed some of the major points that were brought up this evening. And I've suggested on the class 1 and class 2 amendment, there's also one for the insurance, which would not require insurance on a class 1 or class 2 bike.
Deputy City Clerk, anyone online wishing to speak?
No one online.
Last call for anyone in attendance. Last call online?
No one online.
Okay, at this time, I'll close the public hearing on resolution number 3.
Thank you, Mayor. This time it is 7:06 PM. We're going to re-enter our informal session. Now we're going to suspend our informal session and go into our formal session. This time, we're going to call the formal session of the City of Tonawanda Common Council to order. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Gregg,
Yeah.
Boyzene.
Here. Council President is absent. At this time, we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We have a moment of blessing by Reverend Ken Keenan of Grove Street Christian Church.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of 250 years you have bestowed in our nation and all the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. We're so very grateful. We ask you to bless us, bless our efforts tonight, as we work to further the good of the city of Tonawanda. Bless the council and all those who will speak. Amen. Thanks, Fred.
All right, muted. Communications from the mayor were letters from the mayor to various students, thanking them for volunteering to serve on the Tonawanda Youth Board. Communications from city officials and correspondence. The Traffic and Safety Advisory Board filed their meeting minutes for June. The Zoning Board of Appeals filed their meeting minutes for May. This time, I will take comments on the resolutions. Any member of the public wishing to speak on the resolutions can please approach the microphone.
Cheryl Lepsch. I actually have a couple that I wanted to bring up. First off, I want to find out, how do you notify the city of Tonawanda residents if you are auctioning off items? It's absolutely disgusting that I found out today about that. I went online and you're selling a generator for $75, 18 items for $7,000. I want to know who bought all that stuff. Was it workers from the city of Tonawanda? How are people notified that you have some auction site that you can go to? Obviously, I found out about the property being auction, but how do you notify? It's not on the common council page that you're having an auction. So I don't think that's fair to the resident because they have no clue. Secondly, I don't understand the whole, when Jace was here as our DCO, the garage, police garage, there was no area for animals. They put them in there for a couple hours and then they go over on Delaware to the all dogs or whatever it was over there until they figured out what they were doing. Now Jace, I know, made it better where the dog can stay longer, but still, a dog should not be sitting. I don't know any other city that does it, but a dog should not be sitting. I know North Tonawanda, when they get a dog that's not picked up, it goes to Niagara County SPCA. Why are we housing and what are we spending $5,000 for a dangerous dog that shouldn't even be sitting in our city? Should have been taken to the SPCA, or where do you now take the dogs if you're not taking them to that all dogs academy? That's it.
It's really not a resolution. That's more for after with comments from the public. So I don't know if you want to go into this because it's not a specific resolution to address it.
But she was addressing, we could open up this for you.
Yes, it is.
To address resolution number 5.
Yeah.
The second comment was on resolution number 5.
So I'll have the police chief come up and you could explain.
Well, Mayor, it's up to you if you want to have the police chief come now, or the police chief, the city attorney, or someone can file a response with the resident who left their name and address on file at a later time. It doesn't have to be addressed now in the middle of this meeting.
I'd like the police chief to address it right now. He could explain what our housing
If you want to
situation
put the
is.
police chief on the spot, Mayor, it's your call. It's your department head.
Good evening. So our holding facility in our garage is only good for 24 hours. We then utilize, Island Pet Lodge right now. It's the only place that we could get contract. I believe it's $400 a month just to have 2 kennels that are available for us to use. Anytime a dog is here, we try to house it for a short period of time, advertise it on Facebook, try and find the owners and release it directly to the owner. If we cannot find the owner, that dog has to be transferred over to Island Pet Lodge. At that point, it's $25 a day for that dog to be housed. It has to be housed for a minimum of 5 business days before it can be taken to the rescue or wherever it goes from there. And our PCO, Kelly Swagel, does work very well with the local rescues and try to get these animals out of there as soon as possible. This issue with this dangerous dog was a court case. We were required to hold on to that dog. The owner was not allowed to pick it up. We had to house it. And city attorney, there was paperwork filed to try and demand that money from him, pay that.
There's an ordinance, after 5 days, like you say, if he loses ownership of the dog, and at that point, that happened in the interim between 2025 and
That started at the end of October of 25 is where that started.
So, but there's a specific ordinance. If the owner's put on notice and 5 days have passed and he hasn't paid the city for the money and taken care of the dog, taking care of the housing, then he loses ownership of the dog, and it's city's allowed to transfer it for.
But that was a long process that started in the end of 25. It took through the beginning of 2026 to figure out.
Is there a reason like that PCA no longer takes cities on a dog?
I don't know the exact reason, but I know that there was they stopped taking municipal. I know they stopped working with us. I don't know what the reason was. It was probably 10 years ago. I don't know what the reason was.
So I can tell you that reason. The SPCA wouldn't follow the rules of New York State because you had to make sure that they had rabies shots, that they had the license. And the SPCA was a volunteer organization that felt that they were just there to be in a positive way. And they didn't want people to tell them you had to go get it licensed, you had to pay so much per day, and they refused to do it. So New York State came in and said, if we continue to use the SPCA, they were going to start fining us for using them. That's when the switch to all dogs occurred, because all dogs would follow the state rules. I'm not saying that the SPCA was right or wrong, but that's what their policy was. We couldn't make the SPCA, even though it was in the contract to follow those steps, do those steps, and they wouldn't do it. We took them for a while, and then, like most other shelters, they got overwhelmed and they just wouldn't take them anymore.
What's the $5,000?
The overage is it goes back to the end of October of 25. And this dog that was there, it's either $25 or $30 a day, racking up into like February of this year.
So why did it not use them?
It eventually was when we got the get it taken care of. I don't know that dog was $5,000. This is a cute culmination of all the other dogs that have gone over there also. It's not just that one dog. It's a combination. No, this is just to replenish the budget line that has been spent for different things.
As far as the auctions, I'll have the treasurer do something up for you to tell you who bought them, how it went through. We use an outside service, I believe, but I don't have the answers. I can tell you that I didn't buy anything. I'll have to let them know. This is something that was set up before I came in. I don't really know the answer to that. So I'll have to have the treasurer look into that. The department head who no longer needed the equipment or replaced it with other equipment would go to the treasurer and say, we have excess equipment. What's the fairest way to do it? They use that. Do you wanna, Dave, I don't,
He does, I do the
Who?
property auction.
oh, all right.
I do more of the property stuff.
What was the question? Just the auction in general?
How do you get?
You don't have, you have an account with Auctions International, you go on and buy anything you want. We have a 1995 dump truck that barely runs, 1990 generator. Is that stuff you're really interested in?
Well, I think the residents should be aware, who knows about this auction? I
Anyone
don't know
who has
if
an
it's
account with
like-
Auctions International,
I don't think we're gonna talk about auctions.
neither do I.
I mean, I saw today that they were.
Actually, you don't need an account, just have to look online, you need an account.
So another question to that,
Well,
then,
yeah.
since you know, so is Auctions International open nationwide? Can anybody in the United States bid on it? People in California bid on it?
Yeah, sure, so.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're not auctioning off any kind of bench value. It's, when you take it to the junkyard, you kind of use or you get a couple bucks, you know.
So was it on the town council page? They were auctioned.
Yep.
As auction property, but
The theory to use a company like that is you're hoping that they start bidding against each other and you get a bigger price when you open it up beyond the borders of just say the city or the state, the county. If it's open to a company like that who has the reach and that output that people are looking for this stuff, that you'll end up in a bidding war and you'll get the maximum price to benefit the residents of the city.
Actually, the person who wins the bid pays the auction premium 12%. So we don't pay anything. It's where, so if they win a vehicle for $100, it's $112 to the auction winner. So we get 100, auction gets 12. But the people who win the bid pay that.
You just said, this stuff is going to the auction. You know, then if they wanna look on the auction, pay a bid, but just notice how.
We can do that next time. We can just.
Well, I mean, the resolution does reactive.
Thanks. Yep.
Are there any other comments on the resolutions? Deputy City Clerk, are there any comments online wanting to make comments on the resolution?
No, there are not.
At this time, Deputy City Clerk, you can proceed with resolution number 1.
Oh, wait, never mind. Okay. Number 1, by council, seconded by council, resolved that the common council minutes from June 16th, 2026 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions by anybody? Oh, Deputy City Clerk, please proceed.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Boysen.
Aye. The resolution adopted. Resolution number 2.
By council, seconded by council, resolved that the bills be allowed as audited.
Comments or questions? Okay. City Clerk, please proceed.
Sheasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Boysen.
Aye. Resolution number 3.
Point of order on 3, you might want to consider the 2 amendments first.
Yeah.
Before you,
I'll make a motion.
vote on the entire.
But we shall we, what order do you want to do this? The motion?
Are you calling you're calling a motion to amend, or what are you calling a motion for?
Well,
Motion to amend or motion to table?
I have 3 things to ask.
Yeah.
Discuss, amend, and should we also call to not read about?
I think we're gonna have to read it all at some point, because we're gonna make amendments to it, right?
You should do the amendments first.
and then read
This
it.
is amended, then you can have discussion for every.
I mean, I have a couple clear amendments, but there are. several
Okay, hold on.
For discussion.
Deputy City Clerk, we have a motion on the floor to amend resolution number 3 by Fourth Ward Council Member Voisinette.
Two amendments, they're two separate amendments. I should have them, and I said.
We'll do these individually, so we could, vote on them individually.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to amend the definitions. For all train cycle. Is recommended by our attorney, includes any human powered bicycle with or without motor or electrical assist. Function of 2 or 3 wheels, designed for off-road use, but including class 1 and class 2 electric bicycles which require pedal assist.
Also have to do the second.
And then second, in concurrence with this one, would be electrical bicycle. Includes any bicycle as defined under New York State Vehicle Traffic Law 2C, and more specifically a bicycle which not more than 36 inches wide, has an electric motor that is less than 750 watts, is equipped with operable pedals, and complies with the Consumer Product Safety Commission under 16 CFR 1512(1). C. This shall include class 3 motorized bicycles, but exclude class 1 and 2 electric bicycles.
All right, Deputy City Clerk, did you get that?
She has,
Or you gave her one? Because it's not on this email.
I know that, I
Okay.
sent it to her, so.
Okay, so I was about to.
I have them in front of me.
Okay, you have it. Okay, so when we do the read back, we'll be all set. Okay. On the motion by Fourth Ward Council Member Voisinette, is there a second? Seconded by Third Ward Council Member Susan Gregg. So Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Voisinette.
Aye.
On the amendment of the motion to amend the definitions, declare it adopted for the amendment of the definition all-terrain cycle and electric bicycle. You have another motion?
Yep, I'll make an amendment to number 11 of the ordinance to read as follows. The individual operating any of the devices defined under this article, with the exception of all-terrain cycle, must be insured and get insurance coverage in effect at time of operation under a homeowner's policy, renters policy, automotive policy, and/or separate policy.
Does anybody have any questions on Fourth Ward Council Members' amendment? Yep. On the Fourth Ward Member Councilman's amendment, do we have a second? Seconded by Third Ward Council Member Susan Gregg. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment for the for the provisions of number 11.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Voisinette.
Aye.
Declare the amendment for number 11 adopted. Any more motions for amendments?
And I'll make a motion to modify number 5. All terrain cycles are prohibited from exceeding 6 miles per hour while on the bike path located along the Niagara River between 2 Mile Street and Seymour Street between May 1st and October 31st, hours of 8 and 10.
Or we call for a
Makes big difference. Oh, if you go 8 or 9, but I don't feel like people are gonna want that. Each mile per hour makes a big difference with.
I'm gonna say under the question before I call for the second on the amendment, under the question, why 6? Why 5 to 6? Why not 10?
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like 8 or 9 is more appropriate. We could go through this 3 times. That's why I like to discuss it first before proposing. You know, to myself, 7 or 8, 8 or 9 is more appropriate. I don't know if that's gonna get full concurrence.
I'm fine with. I'll support you on 10 if you want to do 10.
I like 7. Mention.
I like 5.
How about 7.5?
Once, twice. Like
77. I like 7. So
I'll go with 10 because I tried to do a car at 5 miles an hour, and you just let your foot off the brake. So to pace it on a bicycle, I don't have a speedometer. I don't think I've ever owned a bicycle with a speedometer. I don't remember. I think it was the Go Bikes person sent us an email, and he said the average kid on a bicycle on the sidewalk's doing 8 miles an hour, and that's just a kid pedaling, like a young toddler. So a grown adult on a 26-inch bicycle, be a mountain bike or speed bike or whatever, 10 miles an hour is a reasonable assumption. I don't know how this is going to work with this battery operated radar gun, but on speed enforcement, they got to be plus or minus 5 miles an hour. And there's an estimation range and a whole thing. I don't know if anybody's been trained in the speed estimation of bicycles versus motor vehicle. So it's going to be an interesting watch to see that. But I think 10 is a reasonable.
Well, I mean, with the plus or minus, probably is, that's why I was going lower, because, if you're going 8, you're not getting to take a 10, you know what I mean?
Up to a little kid that jumps in front of your bike.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, you're down here between Franklin, I walk it every day. Just tell
Mr.
me.
President, do you have something to speak?
So what?
Mr. President, do you have something to speak?
With the city attorney?
Yeah.
He's included in this conversation. So your amendment's under the question right now. He's just giving us.
I'm just telling you that you're opening this down here, under this city hall, going down here every night. You're opening us up to liability of something. I'm telling you that as far as I'm concerned, they should be walking that from Franklin to City Hall. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. I watch little kids dart out, I watch dogs dart out, and I watch people get flipped. I watch it all.
We could even modify the areas from Wheeler to Belk.
That's not under the question or the amendment, nor under the question under the resolution. Right now under the amendment, under the question is speed.
I think 10's too bad. Like you said, if you're not gonna do anything unless they go a little bit over, so now they're going south.
If we're not going to change it higher to 10 or 15, then I'd say leave it at 5. I mean, 7, we're splitting it. 6 is, that I don't.
So the other 5, I did test, as you probably know, I tested everything. 5 is hardly pedal. 6, you do get a little bit of a pedal. 7, a little more. 8, a little more. It's still safe. 10, then you're starting to get a little quicker.
Is your bike speedometer calculated?
Oh, very calibrated.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah, with ice cubes.
Is it in New York State Weights and Measures? Was it Erie County? Where was it? Sir, where was the certified calibration report from?
Use 3 different measuring devices.
You have 3 different measuring devices to test the speed on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is there's a motion on the floor by 4th Ward Councilmember Voisinade to amend number 5 to read exceeding 6 miles per hour.
7. You can change 7.
You are now you're retracting your original motion and making a new motion to change number 5 to speed exceeding 7 miles per hour.
7 miles per hour.
Is there any questions under it? Is there a second? Seconded by 3rd Ward Councilmember Susan Gregg. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll on amending number 5 of resolution number 3 to read exceeding 7 miles per hour.
Beasley,
Nay.
Fisher,
Nay.
Greg,
Yes.
Boysenay.
Aye.
Declare the resolution tied. Correct me if I'm wrong, City Attorney. The mayor cast a tie-breaking vote.
Hello.
It's
Not passed,
It's defeated, yeah.
That time, the amendment to resolution number 3, subsection 5 has been defeated. It still reads 5 miles per hour.
Okay. Issue with the attaching to street signs, cell proposed trees. Did get a good explanation from the attorney. I'd like to amend that. Okay, so I'll make a motion to amend number 8. electric scooters, motorized devices, motorized scooters, and electrical bicycles may not be parked on the public sidewalks unless appropriately placed within the bicycle rack that may be present. Same shall at no time be attached to any signs, telephone, and or electric poles or trees with the exception of downtown Tonawanda and parks. At no time may electric scooters, motorized devices, motorized scooters, or electric bicycles be parked in a manner that interferes with the pedestrian.
So your amendment, so after the word trees.
Yeah.
Your amendment is, so after the word trees, to add in the downtown area?
Downtown Main Street, should I say?
And so it shall read, same shall at no times be attached to any street signs, telephone, and electric poles or trees in the Main Street downtown area
And parks.
and parks.
I don't believe there's bike racks in parks.
So then okay, so that's the motion on the floor, is the motion to amend resolution number 3, subsection 8, to add that verbiage to after the word trees. So under the question, so your intent then is so they can lock up their bikes to trees, poles, and other devices that it's not in a park or the downstream Main Street area.
No. Only downtown and in parks, some bikes in parks.
That-
Bike rack takes bike up.
Then with you have to strike no times.
With exception.
Oh, you want to add with exception,
Yeah, with exception.
exception to the downtown Main Street area and parks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the resolution, I'm sorry, that is the amendment to resolution number 3, subsection 8. Still under the question, anybody?
Well, the only thing I want to clarify is, for example, I use the Elks. They own that property. And you're exposing them. What right do you have to expose them to liability?
They own the sidewalk?
City to liability. That's what you're doing.
They own the sidewalk?
Well,
It's
they-
not public property.
They own, well, they're responsible for maintaining it in front of it.
It's all free.
I'm just telling, all right, you can do what you want, but I want you to be clear.
Yeah.
That if you vote for this, you're exposing the city to liability.
So Mark, what happens if the city were to put a bike rack down on Main
And it's
Street?
fine. If it's
Is
on
that
a bike rack.
liability then?
No, you have a bike rack here. I'm talking about chaining something.
I understand, but if you put a bike
Bike
rack,
racks are separate. And if you provide a bike rack, they can put it in the bike. rack.
and there's no
That's what it
liability,
says in the.
but there's no liability to the
Hold on,
city.
it's not the same amount of liability, but you're tying them to utility poles, you're tying them to trees. And you're making an exception for the downtown area. How do you know the city owns everything in the downtown area?
Downtown Main Street.
Seems like.
I understand the place where Mr.
For our
Boyce Day is
residents.
coming from. but
3
I
bike
agree
racks down here.
Is there
3.
downtown?
Yeah.
And how many
There's
does-
3 bike racks.
It's only 3 people can go down there.
Each one wants one?
You have a $1 million bike hub down here.
That's very true. Are there racks over there?
Yes.
Only about the parks.
Tie them up to the rack.
I mean, I understand we're both here, but I agree with Mark though, if it's a liability.
Yeah.
Put a rack up and then if he moves the liability. Maybe like the Kiwanis Club or something.
City attorney, so in the amendment, we did the very first one, where we changed the definitions. So we wrote, but including class 1 and class 2 motorized bicycles would require pedal assist. Those are now under all-terrain cycles, or those are considered equal?
They're all terrain cycles.
But then we also have under electric bicycle, this shall
That
include,
was amended as well as part of that.
to remove that, right?
Yeah.
This shall include class 3, but exclude class 1 and 2. So then so number 8, as it stands right now with our other 2 amendments, is only for the class 3s, it can't be parked on the side, and scooters and other devices. So a bicycle, a human powered bicycle, a class 1 and a class 2 could be tied to a street sign on the downtown Main Street area.
By definition.
By definition, yes. So you're just trying to make it so
Yeah.
class 3 mopeds can lock themselves up on a sidewalk.
I wouldn't think that. I'll retract it.
Okay, so we're retracting a resolution to amend resolution 3, subsection 8. We're gonna leave that as stands.
Towns.
Got a motion to amend penalties?
Call
Call us, call as many as you want. I'm here all night.
Yeah, I found what the resident said was reasonable. Again, second paragraph. Violation of articles shall be subject to $50 civil penalty for the first violation, up to $100 for the second violation, and up to $250 for each subsequent violation. Okay. Where there are more than 3 violations by the same individual within 2 years, the motorized device may be permanently seized and sold by the city with such proceeds placed in the safety program under the auspicious.
We're towing vehicles now for 3 parking tickets within 10 minutes. Okay, just so you know.
So on the motion.
What he's saying is if you do violate the law twice this year, and then you don't violate it in 10 years, then you're still gonna have your bike impound?
I think they would have matured by then.
Well, the other question is, then what if it's a different motorized device? What if they could ticket 1 on a blue bike, ticket 2 on a red bike, and ticket 3 on a green bike? It's a different motorized device. This pattern would start over at violation 1 on every individual bike, just by the way it's written. 'Cause it says the motorized device may be permanently seized after the 3rd subsequent violation.
Same motorized.
Same motorized device. So Jason, for example, he has 3 different bikes with 3 different calibration devices. So if he gets a ticket on 1, and a week later a ticket on 2, and then a 3rd one on ticket 3, all 3 of them will be a $50 fine. He would never.
Be a very rich kid with 3 different bikes and.
He's sitting in front of me, evidently.
It says 3 violations by the same individual.
Same individual, then he shouldn't be making those violations.
Again, I understand, I agree with you, that's why I said
I know,
2 years, like that, 2 years, I mean, something reasonable.
And it's up to the,
So resolution number 3, subsection number 12, there's a motion on the floor by the 4th Ward Council Member Voisinay to amend number 12, paragraph 2, penalties, where after the words by the same individual, to add within a 2-year period. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Is it individual or vehicle? I mean, you said before it was the bike.
That already has by the individual.
It says by the same.
And now I see it, because as your market cabinet, 4% bike.
So the individual was.
So that is under the question at this time. Does anybody have any further comments or questions under the motion by Council Member Voisinay, resolution 3, subsection 12, paragraph 2?
No question.
By the way, it says may, all right, it doesn't say definitely cease, so you know, it's not an automatic.
So is that discretionary by the officer who determines?
Discretionary, and I'm sure the officer isn't gonna do that on his own. Without consulting, it's may. If he's using the same bike and does it 3 times, and I'm sure it's not gonna be a 10-year break. It's may. It's not has to take his bike.
I'm assuming they're using charms and CD cards to determine how far back this has occurred. Like, is that what it would be?
There's a lot of discretion here. I mean, that I would assume that most police officers, right, Officer Barkley, will use.
Okay, so on resolution number 3, subsection 12, paragraph 2, on the amendment to add where there are more than 3 violations by the same individual, comma, within a 2-year period, comma, the motorized device may be permanently seized and sold by the city with such proceeds placed into a safety program under the auspices of the police department. Is there a second? Ask one more time. Is there a second? There is no second. So the motion to amend resolution number 3, subsection 12, paragraph 2, is not going to proceed.
Yeah.
I'd like to comment on resolution. One of the public stated about the rails to trails, so when you get like on Cranbrook going over, there's no marking. I like the traffic department with the traffic committee to look into that, because it's absolutely true. When you're crossing State Street or you're crossing Cranbrook, the guys on the bikes coming down the bike path, they're not looking at all. And you're in your car, especially if you're running out of town, you don't know what's going on. You gotta have some markings around State and Cranbrook. Yeah, I'm going to Alexander too, that's a tough one.
We spoken about it before. There is Indians around here, but bring it back up.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Right, resolution number 3, to amend the code specifically, chapter 62, traffic and vehicles, to add article 6, use of electric and motorized devices. Sponsored by Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second? Seconded by Third Ward Councilmember Susan Gregg. Comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our attorney and everyone else for taking the time and tabling this and getting the wrinkles sorted out and doing this the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No. At this time, Deputy City Clerk, can you please read resolution number 3?
I would waive the reading.
Waive the reading?
As amended, I gotta read.
Okay, so you don't want to have her read it with the amendments put in? Okay. At this time, I'll make a motion to waive the reading of resolution number 3 and accept it as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schleswig. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Deputy City Clerk, resolution number, that's just waive the reading. Resolution number 3, can you proceed?
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison
Aye. So the resolution number 3 adopted with the amendments. Resolution number 4.
We'll make a motion to.
Hold on, Deputy City Clerk, at this time, I have a resolution. I have a motion on the floor.
Reading of 4 through 13.
I have a motion on the floor to waive the readings of resolutions 4 through 13 by First Ward Council Member Mr. Schleswig. You call the roll for the motion to waive readings.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
and Poison
Aye. Okay, declare the motion to waive the readings 4 through 14 accepted. Deputy City Clerk, resolution number 4.
Beasley,
Nope, sorry. Resolution number 4 by Councilmember Fisher. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by First Ward Councilmember Schleswig. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison
Aye. Declare number 4 adopted. Number 5 by Councilmember Schleswig. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by Fourth Ward Councilmember. Comments or questions? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison
Aye. Resolution number 5 adopted. Resolution number 6 by Councilmember Voisin. Do we have a second? Seconded by Third Ward Councilmember. Comments or questions? No comments or questions. Deputy City Clerk, please proceed.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison
Aye. Resolution number 6 adopted. Resolution number 7 by Councilmember Schleswig. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by Fourth Ward Councilmember. Comments or questions? No comments or questions? I have a comment on this one. This is where the engineer came up with a few years back to shave the sidewalks to save us money so we don't do a complete replacement. Anybody's seen them? It looks real nice. A lot of places do them. And it saves us money and we get more sidewalks fixed here in the city. Any other further comments or questions? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison A.
Aye.
The resolution adopted. Resolution number 8, Councilmember Fisher. Do we have a second? Seconded by first ward council member. Comments or questions? None? All right, Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison A.
Aye.
The resolution adopted. Resolution number 9, Councilmember Fisher. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by the fourth ward council member. Comments or questions? Comment. This is for the cemetery. For those who haven't been over there in the city cemetery, Ron Snyder, the chairman of the cemetery committee, has been doing a lot of work and really getting together with the cemetery committee. And it just put lights around the monument there in the middle. They ran the electric, they put some direct wired lighting in. If you drive by at night, the Civil War monument is lit up. And just, so Ron now is having a picnic in the cemetery event on July 18th. If you want to come out and see what our cemetery really looks like now with all the hard work that's been put into it. That is all. Any other comments, questions? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison A.
Aye.
The resolution adopted. Resolution number 10 by Councilmember Fisher. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by the fourth ward council member. Comments or questions? No comments or questions? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison A.
Aye.
The resolution adopted. Number 11, Councilmember Fisher. Do we have a second? Second. Seconded by the fourth ward council member. Comments or questions?
Yeah, quick comment. This was a great event, privately paid for, not by the city, and for everyone to enjoy it. So thank you for those that supported this, and looking forward to hopefully more in the future.
Thank you, fourth ward council member. Any other comments or questions? All right, Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Poison A.
Aye.
Resolution number 11 adopted. Resolution number 12 by Councilmember Fisher. We have a second.
Second.
Seconded by the first ward council member. Comments or questions?
Question. Filling this in because it's not safe. So is that part safe to keep open?
City engineer.
There's a significant difference in basically the two tunnels. There's one tunnel that goes along the Niagara Street side and it goes up to 2 Main around 6.
Yeah.
That's much older and in much worse shape than the tunnel that wants to keep at 2 Main. That being said, as part of the resolution you guys passed at the last meeting, when we're gonna do, we board the actual design of the abandonment to structurally stabilize against the wall building before we built.
Yeah.
The structural evaluation of the 2 Main vaults as well.
Okay.
We will be doing another one. We looked at it 3 years ago, but I can send you the report if you'd like to see it, but there's pictures in there that are, I would say pictures that are worth 1,000 words, in this case, it definitely is.
Okay, I didn't realize they're two separate ones, so.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, they are linked, so it's not like physically separated. There's essentially a metal bar door that used to be there that's rusted away and gone that separates them.
Okay.
So you kind of get around the entire tunnel.
Yeah.
But they're definitely two different areas of construction.
Okay, it'll be very sensitive. Okay, great. Thanks, Jason.
Sure.
Yep. City attorney.
This gentleman has his HVAC equipment in his top.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to move it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
We had two choices.
Yeah.
We could engage in an agreement where he would be obligated to do various things, or we can deed him the property. And now he has all the liability and has the obligation to fill it if it becomes unsafe. and takes the burden off of the city to have to fill that vault in the event in the future that it has to be filled. So that's the main reason for the deed as opposed to an agreement, wherein the city would retain the property and be responsible to have paid the expense to fill that vault.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Sir Attorney.
Any other comments or questions? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll. Number 12.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Boyzene,
Aye. Letter number 12 adopted. Resolution number 13 by Councilmember Schlesy. I'll second. Comments or questions? One comment. This is a business owner seeing, he's seeing some progress in the area and he wants to continue that great progress and put a parcel of land on the tax roll where the city will benefit from the taxes on both the property and the sales tax of any sales that are made if there's food or beverage purchased on that, or just to encourage more people to come to his business and have a place to sit. Wherever it goes, it'll be interesting to see, but I wish more businesses could start getting involved like this. That was all. Any other questions or comments? None? Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll. Number 13.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Boyzene,
Aye. Declare resolution number 13 adopted. Before we call resolution 14, does anybody have a need for executive?
I do.
You?
Personnel.
Resolution number 14, I will sponsor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the first council member. Comments or questions? Resolution number 14 to go in executive at the conclusion of our informal. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Beasley,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Boyzene,
Aye. So resolution 14 adopted and we will go to executive after the conclusion of the informal. At this time, I will take comments by the public. Any comment, any public wishing to speak, please approach the microphone.
William Reese, 72 Walter Avenue, Director of Finance, Town of Evans. The bills, it was interesting to hear the talk tonight. For 22 years after the charter was passed in '96, the city treasurer provided the council with bills once a month in a stack for approval, and we had a resolution that went through and said that they approved the payment of the bills, even though all the checks went out the month before. In 2020, at the council's request, we went to twice a month before each meeting, so they could actually be part. And I was agreeable to that because it was nice to see the council actually get it. Back then, we used to just put it there for the audit committee. In 2020, we went to sending it out via email 5 days before the council meeting to all the council members. So we tried to bring them into the fold and understand what's going on. In May of 2020, the council and without talking to the office of the treasurer, the office of the mayor, decided to pull the stunt, for lack of a better term, and they actually denied the payment of the bills to try to go to only paying the bills after they've approved them, which led to me having to reach the outside counsel, and we got an opinion back that said that's not the case. Council really has nothing, and the resolution went from approving the bills to the council has reviewed the bills, and they had nothing to do with the approval anymore because they lost when the council did that. That was also the infamous bulletproof vest abstract that had some fun with that. So from 2020 to 2024, February 24, the council got the abstracts, but they really had nothing to do with it. They were out of the process completely. And that was great. I still try to keep the council working with us, understanding, reviewing the monthly expenditures and revenues. In 24, they kind of changed the rules again. In 25, the current treasurer made a valid effort to try to bring Tonawanda into the fold of how most of the state does it. In the town of Evans, we don't do any checks without approval beforehand. That's because that's the way it was always done for the 100 years. So it's how you do it. Here, we have our people trained to know that they can get checks out weekly. We turn our bills over quick. It's great. It's a matter of changing that habits. And it's great to see the treasurer working with the council and the office of the mayor to fine tune it and bring it in so where the council still has a chance to know what's going on, still has a chance to weigh in, but also keep the city business moving without late fees. I know the mayor then was involved heavily because his department would have been affected by that change because his department at the time was the biggest one that had the most money for it. So I commend the current mayor and our current council and our current treasurer for working together to fine tune like you are with the meeting times. And I hope you keep working together, and I hope the council keeps looking at the abstracts and reviewing them and asking the questions. It's very important that they all know what's going on, so when it comes time for budgets, you have an idea of what they're spending and why they're spending. So again, it's great that it's working out, and I'm glad to see you all working together. And the charter did not change any of that. We didn't address it. That was strictly council and council president.
I just wanted to ask, Gateway Harbor, where the pavilion is. When, I guess I missed it, where North Tonawanda and Tonawanda own it together, and we have to get approval from them to use it. I thought we got a grant, city of Tonawanda, to build that. Not from North Tonawanda. Am I wrong on that?
We got the money, but is there an agreement
No,
with Gateway that,
There's an agreement in place for events, so we don't have multiple events going on at the same time. That North Tonawanda and Tonawanda have agreed that on each side of the canal, Gateway Harbor will coordinate all of the events, and all of the events go through Gateway Harbor. We have a separate board that comprise of recreational director, the mayors of both sides, and a few other individuals such as myself, chairman. And that is the point of it, so that we don't have conflicting events going on both sides.
Okay, I wasn't aware of it. My last thing is, I haven't been here in a while, I've taken care of my mom for the last 8 years, 4 hours a day. I now have hearing aids, and I wanted to know why the city clerk no longer sits out here and we can hear her and everything that she's saying, when I have a real hard time understanding anything she said. When did they change? Well, she's not, I know Jan used to sit out here and do everything. Why are they not any longer out here?
They put them.
Who made
So-
that decision?
what they did is because they do it for your virtual and you can ask questions online, they actually have to be in front of a computer because you don't have to come and do this in person. You can watch it online. She or he has to be there to monitor that, to get the questions that may come in online and to tape this so it's virtual.
And do it? I understand. The same thing.
It was logistics that came from ex-Alderman Rosenstruck.
James Costco.
Yeah.
Was under Costco, this was during COVID.
Right.
And then what happened was when we started filming the informals, we had to have a secondary audio and mic because the informals were never recorded. And then we had an argument with the council president and the former mayor where they believed things were said that weren't said, and then the council disagreed with them. So then we started recording audio and videoing that. And then we had to get secondary equipment that was donated by the third ward council member. So to answer your question, the city clerk is in the city clerk's office because the city clerk is running the online version. So more than just the people in this room can participate in their government.
Can she bring the computer in here and then from here?
Do we have a city laptop capable of that? Because that was the problem we had when we started filming the informals. They wanted to bring all the equipment from the formal to there. But then we said if we do the informal at 6 and then we do the formal at the conclusion of the informal, we would have to break for at least 15 minutes to switch all the equipment over.
She runs the informal from the,
She runs the informal and the formal from the city clerk's office.
but the question is, can she run it from a laptop in here rather than?
I've never seen the city clerk have a laptop. If he has one, that's news to me. We could buy him one. We got to put in this. One of the things you have to put in the budget.
I think the biggest problem is the audio. I mean, no nobody can hear.
For when they're speaking, yeah.
Even
When they're
if
speaking,
can't hear.
I can't hear any of this.
Are you aware of 762 Fletcher Street? I just like to know what's going on with David Holmes. Is there another plan in place? They're kicking him out, or what's gonna happen?
So we passed a resolution that gave him 90 days. That's by the contract that we have with him, so we couldn't do it. That date is the end of August, early September, when we can determine whether he's done significant improvements to the project, or at that time, we can take legal steps to take the property back.
Is he still planning on doing the same plan that he had, or is he changing the road work or anything? Have you presented anything to this? That you can talk about?
The same footprint.
Yeah, okay.
They would have to go through everything, I believe, to change this, so same footprint,
Same roads?
same, yeah.
Thank you.
Deputy City Clerk, is there anybody online wishing to make a comment?
Yes, we do have somebody.
I'm sorry?
We do have somebody.
Okay, we have one more comment on the floor and then we'll move to online.
Okay.
Julian Stallman, street. Just two observations. One of them was I walked between the City Hall tops and Ferry Hill, and I noticed last week when there were so many people in the park, there weren't any garbage cans really. That was one of the things that really struck me. And we were lucky not to have a lot of debris thrown around because of that. But again, there should be some garbage cans, positioned so that people can use them. The other thing that, I have always maintained a need for, I've never seen it in the city, I've been here 36 years, is you have no playground. Where most of the families are between Ferry Hill and the City Hall. And yet we don't have a small playground. We have some places to get ice cream. And you do have the little people, as Mr. Saltarelli has mentioned, there's a lot of little people, but there has never been slide or anything for the kids. Taco restaurant now, which is really nice. But what's wrong with having a small slide with some something for kids, sandbox, whatever. And that's the only other thing I've really noticed that I've missed in the city. We talked about was never acted on, mostly because we don't have the money. We don't have the money for other little things that have been talked about tonight. So consider maybe some swings, some slides. Here were all people, all the little children.
I would like to address you on that one, on the playground part.
Yeah.
One, there's a playground behind the Pelosi Pavilion. There's a little bit further down, but there is a playground there. And then where the area you're talking about between Franklin and the taco place, there has been approval to put a natural playground in there, state-of-the-art natural playground. It would be on the corner of Franklin, I believe it's Franklin?
Yeah,
Franklin and right next to Bob Greg Grove. There's an open area that goes down over to the parking lot. And there has been approval for an all-natural playground, state-of-the-art. We haven't seen plans for it and there is no funding for it. But the person we granted the permission to build it has the city's permission to seek funding for it. So that person is trying to seek grants from the state, county, federal level. And if they can bring the funding to the table, they'll be able to put that playground in. So there is a plan to put a playground in that area. And that'll be something that will build on the shoreline in addition to the tacos and the band shell. There will hopefully be one of the Erie County's premier natural playgrounds will be right here in the city of Tonawanda, pending the funding.
They are actively working on it, so this isn't just sitting. They're
Anything to do with garbage cans?
Back to the mayor on that one.
This guy.
I'll talk to the superintendent. I know they don't want to have too many where that fine balance is. Obviously, you need more when it's 85 and sunny. I know they don't want to put too many down there that just all you see is garbage totes too, but I will talk to him.
All right, Deputy City Clerk, persons online wishing to make a comment?
Okay.
Hi. Ed Meyerhofer, 7 Bauk Street. I was curious about the sale of the property on East Niagara. Is there any plans for that area? And, are they relocating the boat that's on there and stuff like that?
So that piece of property, vacant industrial, and it's a small piece of property. The owner of Prescott's has agreed to maintain that boat and in fact make enhancements to it. His thought was that he would make it either a sitting area or maybe serve something there out of his kitchen as like a breakfast or a lunch kind of thing that went across the street. But those are his plans that he hasn't finalized. But we definitely discussed about that boat, and he's going to make enhancements and make it really look nice, and it'll be a good addition. But right now it was zoned vacant industrial. There's really nothing you can do. I don't have the exact dimensions, but it was such a small piece of property that there really wasn't a whole lot you could do, but it would benefit his nearby business. And everything he's done in the past has been first class and really enhanced that area. And there's no reason for me to believe that this project wouldn't do the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Deputy City Clerk, is there anybody else online wishing to make a comment?
No, sir.
All right. Closing remarks, Mayor.
We kind of covered it all. I'm good.
Thank you. First word.
I'm good also.
Right. This week's Chris Fisher gives back. Goes to a local school teacher who I found out at an end of the year school party for her students. And then said, wow, how do you get the city to pay for that? Like school district, why not finance it out of her own pocket? So I kicking in $50 to reimburse that teacher for stuff for their students. The week before 4th of July, here in the city, part of our committee, we had a loss. Barb Don passed away. For those who didn't know Barb, she was on the city cemetery committee, and she was there every work day. And I don't want to get too much into her, the personal story. It's up to the family, but Barb Don will be missed on the cemetery committee. Moving on, talking about the cemetery committee, Ron Snyder continuing to do a great job with lights on the monument now. City workers did that job. So if you get a chance to go by the cemetery, and you probably won't notice it until October or maybe even November when the clock goes back an hour.
Well,
you drive down
it's
Main
like
Street,
her cousin or his cousin.
Ron, is that you? The whole monument will be lit up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock when the clock goes back. Right now, it doesn't come on until about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And then last, the firefighters. I know that the chief was on vacation, but the empowerment of the firefighters. So it was a 95 heat index of 100 last week. And you go over to the fire department, you speak to whoever the on-duty assistant chief is, and he says, listen, there's all these different sporting events going on. And they said, no, we're empowered to make that decision. They bring a truck over and they hook up to a hydrant and they spray the water. The kid, 50, 100 kids from different sporting event, baseball, soccer, show up and, get under the water. But the two things that were nice about the whole ordeal was one, the fire department, our city puts on that function for the children. It's an on-duty function. Truck was readily available. They were able to do that. But two, the fire chief was off. And rather than hearing the number two in command who was filling in say, well, I don't know, or I can, it was, no, I'm empowered to make that decision and this is okay. And it happened that fast. And Chief, I think that's great that you run your department with that. They're not on a power trip, but they're empowered to make those decisions. And I think that's really reflective of your leadership over there. So that's all I have. Third word.
First of all, I want to thank the mayor and his office for the wonderful fireworks. And we've got all positive feedback. Gentleman in my office said for sure and say thank you to you because it was the best one he ever saw. He thought it was even better than at Eisenscape, which is awesome. So thank you for that. This weekend is I think it's the 22nd annual art show down at the river. We have over 40 artists. It's a beautiful affair. If you have a chance to come down and support the local people. I agree we need more garbage cans down in the park. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, if people don't have somewhere to put their garbage, we're going to throw it on the ground. And after a busy weekend, lots of times it looks, though we don't get any garbage from Papa Grande's, it's very kept nice and clean. But you know, there's all kinds of wrappers and everything all through there. So a few more garbage cans can hurt. And I want to thank Amanda. She acted as our deputy, or she is our deputy clerk, and I thought she did a wonderful job. Thank you, Amanda. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Fourth word.
Yep. Real quick, yeah, as we know, garbage cans, it's a congested area. So let's make note of that, right? And also, again, I'm gonna say I'm glad we took the time to review this ordinance and make the necessary changes, straighten it out, close several of the major gaps. So thank you, council, for that. And your return. I'm always looking out for our city and I'm always looking out for our residents. I do what I can to help, and, you know, city and residents make that balance. So I just do the best I can to help everyone out and help our residents and their concerns out. I'm also happy to be a member of the youth board. Mr. Bender's been doing a great job. We have 10 new high school students on the youth board, so it's great. Very excited they joined. I'm excited to join and continue the events that Mr. Bender has been going on this year. We've had many successful events. This month we got a coloring contest going and our annual fishing derby on August 1st. So always looking out for our children. Very happy to be part of the board and keep these things going with that. So thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you. At this time, we are going to suspend our formal meeting and return to our informal meeting for unfinished business from the informal meeting. At that time, we will then finish the informal meeting, re-enter the formal meeting, which will then we will go into executive session. Upon that time, it'll be an adjournment. So if anybody doesn't want to stick around, that will be the remainder of the evening. So at this time, will we re-enter the informal session for discussion? Mr. Schlesig. Got nothing. Thank you, Mr. Schlesig. Second word, myself. I see in our folders we have the rental unit registration, and this was one of the things we were discussing at the last meeting. This is the same one it was emailed out, correct? This is just a printed copy? I do know.
I didn't get it, so if they didn't send, I didn't. Didn't review it.
Okay, well then, before we leave, I will have someone in the mayor's office with a copy machine make a copy so you can see what we're seeing. So, looking through it, one of the things we were talking about was the penalties.
Oh, is this the ordinance you're talking?
Yeah, so chapter 14, rental. Yes, this one. Oh, so so this is the one you sent out. So one of one of the things we were talking about was, you know, like the penalties and offenses, the registration fees to get on here. So to sit here, now that we all have it in hard copy, is this the first time you guys have it in hard copy in your hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what? So we're back here on the 21st. I'm assuming you guys we're all planning on being back here on the 21st. I plan on, you know, bringing my red pen, and I'm going to go home and do my red pen, and just like we did with the bike ordinance, run through it, like just talk about fees. On the last page, letter B, it says that a renter or owner occupied would be a fee of $250 per unit. Non-owner occupied would be $500. I know when we talked with third ward council member, one of the last times we talked, that was one of the first things we just said in talking, we believe that fee was too high. This may be doable, it's just these, that's a higher number. So so we don't have to sit here and discuss this here in person now. I ask that if you guys do have comments, questions, or amendments to this, please bring them back on the 21st, and then during my time in the informal on the 21st, I plan on bringing this up and discussing it. Does that seem like a valid timeline for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have an hour.
But
We'll have an hour.
you never know what's going to pop up for that informal. You never know. You have 9 minutes with a de minimis start time of 6:30. So other than that, for the informal session, I have nothing further. Third ward council member. Nothing further. Okay, Jason.
The two small things. I think I got a birthday today. Ooh, yeah. Someone's birthday. Mr. Simon, happy birthday, Mr. Simon. And just for the council people, I think the son mentioned that the auditorium after everything. So
You got to speak. This is a public forum. You got to speak up.
auditorium, may have vacancy after they're done with all the build out. So just putting a bug in your ear to think about any non-for-profits or something that may want to utilize the auditorium for. So just something.
Oh, you mean up in the fourth floor, the
Yeah.
privately owned school that he
Yeah.
did he get rid of the gym too? Because you're saying the auditorium might be available. He's gonna have apartments with an auditorium in the middle, kind of like they have over on Elmwood in the Tonatona, one of their old
Yeah, so
schools.
just put a bug in your ear, think about it. I'll chat a little more with him about it.
Ask him about see if there's a gym still.
The gym's got.
The gym's gonna be built out.
Also, gym's built out. So the only thing he's keeping that's preserved is he's gonna have an
Yeah,
auditorium.
did he mention that? No, auditorium, okay. He did mention it in one conversation, so.
So you're gonna have it. So there's
If anyone has any ideas.
so public auditorium space.
That's all.
All right, is there any other business for the informal? Okay, at this time, I will make a motion to conclude our. Oh, Jason's back for the informal. Come on up, Jason.
Got an email earlier today with a potential utility relocation at the.
Oh, yes.
Bridge.
Easement.
Yes, we need to have utilities, so obviously after installing that. I don't need an answer from you right now. As far as the poll goes, I just want to make sure that if you have any questions, I can answer, or at least explain to you what it was for. Right now, those lines are right on the north side of the bridge. They have to be relocated. Our option would be either basically temporarily move it and then move it all back, or just kind of take that line that I showed in the map. Step. Thanks.
Thanks. All right, so if no one has anything else for the informal, I'd like to thank Police Officer Worthling for attending the meeting for the bike hearing. And at this time, I make a motion to conclude our informal and re-enter into our formal. Do I have a second? Seconded by First Ward Council Member Mr. Schlesly. All in favor? Aye. Aye. At this time, we will unsuspend our formal meeting and re-enter our formal meeting. At this time of the formal meeting, we will now exercise resolution number 14 and enter into executive session. The council will meet in the chambers with the door closed. Unless the mayor has anything for the department heads, we will adjourn from the executive. So that is the conclusion. Thank you.
Today, right now, they were gonna put the trust in, kind of sensitive.
Oh, you mean for executive? No, I thought you meant now. No.
Oh, no,
that's-
I get that.
Oh, no, yeah.
He's in there, but I don't.
No,